At the onset of COVID-19, businesses across the state, including early childhood care providers, struggled to keep doors open. But for essential workers to get back to work, early childhood facilities and providers had to reopen. To make this happen, the government created the CARES Act for American workers and families, small businesses, and preserves jobs for American industries.
Just like most other small businesses, child care centers across the state struggled beginning in March of 2020. With attendance dropping, parents losing jobs, and also parents being in fear of the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, the state had CARES Act money that was specifically earmarked for child care centers.
Funds from the COVID-19 relief efforts were sent over to the Department of Human Services to be allocated to each daycare center for them to purchase PPE equipment to keep their centers open. And so they had the responsibility of setting up the rules that would allow for the issuance of those funds.
Here at MDHS, we at the Division of Early Childhood Care and Development are dedicated to strengthening Mississippi's working families and our essential child care providers. By combining CARES Act dollars in addition to our standard funding, we've been able to offer considerable financial relief. We've issued over 30,000 child care subsidy certificates to families in need, including over 7,000 directly to emergency and other personnel. To date, MDHS has provided over $100 million in financial aid to both working parents and our child care providers.
Child Care Clean Plus, also referred to as CCC Plus, is a program made possible through House Bill 1782, which appropriated $3 million to the North Mississippi Education Consortium to distribute PPE and sanitation supplies to licensed child care providers impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Because of the COVID pandemic, we have been able to provide additional services that are related to the health and safety of young children as well as the teachers and providers. Through an appropriation in a partnership with the Mississippi Legislature and the Mississippi Development Authority, we've been able to provide PPE and cleaning supplies through the work with shared services.
The appropriation was the result of the collective advocacy efforts from several child care directors, the Mississippi Early Learning Alliance, the Children's Defense Fund, and the Graduate Center for the Study of Early Learning. Because of CCC Plus, 842 licensed child care providers were awarded over $3,500 to purchase PPE and cleaning supplies. Providers often had to compete with healthcare providers and other small businesses for high-demand supplies like sanitizers, disinfectants, and thermometers. They needed a dependable source of supplies. CCC Plus addressed the concerns of child care providers by leveraging the state's shared services platform, Mississippi Early Learning Resources, which is hosted by the Mississippi Early Learning Alliance.
Some of the grants and programs that were available to us during the pandemic that we were able to take advantage of was the Payment Protection Program, the CCC Plus program, and the booster check that came from DHS Child Care Services. It enabled us to be able to open our doors back, as well as be able to meet the CDC guidelines and be conducive with them as well.
The funding that we received, it helped us. We did and purchased quite a bit of things that was not normal around here. We bought full body temperature scanning machines. We bought APCO air filtration to go in our central air and cooling units to help purify the air. We bought additional air purifiers for every classroom, Lysol, Microban, bleach. But it helped us to replace some things to make sure that we had a germ and a very safe environment for our children, our staff, and our families.
We did the GIVE grant to help us with the child care center and also with after school. We got funded with the child care center part. We also got funded through the after school part. We were able to buy different equipment, do PPEs, different things like that we were able to buy, even computers. And the people that's taking advantage of it are the ones who really needed it, especially virtual, because the parents had to go to work. and the children were not able to do their virtual at home.
My son Makai is on the Water for Upstart program, which received funding through the Emergency Education Relief Fund to provide a rewarding program for students' academic excellence. The Emergency Education Fund has benefited my child because he gets the necessary tools at home to help him after school, or if they are doing the virtual learning due to the COVID-19, he has those additional resources in addition to his school.
We are so close to our local hospitals, and we knew that we had those staff members who needed help. We have first responders children here that needed help. And we were able to receive those gear funds. We could just breathe a sigh of relief because we knew that we could continue providing services to these children to see them through to the end of their Jackson Public Schools semester, knowing that they had already canceled class and we could provide a safe place for those families and their children. We were able to use our gear funds for PPE. We were able to use it for increased supplies for children for low contact and no contact. We were able to provide nutritious meals and snacks to the families who depended upon that from their school districts. We were able to serve 55 different children this semester. We have been able to increase our online resources for those who aren't able to join us for virtual learning, and we installed our dual ionization mechanics in our HVAC and heating system.
Child care has long been the backbone of Mississippi's workforce. Classified as essential businesses, it is child care providers across our great state that have been keeping their doors open to serve our children and their families.
This year when the pandemic hit, I never felt so essential in my role. With the onset of COVID-19, we were seeing an increase in number of patients we served, and we were expected to be at work every day. As a mom, I couldn't fulfill my duties without quality child care. I have a 4-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter, and my husband and I were both considered essential workers. We needed to know that our children were safe and in a nurtured environment while we worked. Because of the C-Care program, our kids were able to attend Faith Academy. I was able to go to work assured that they were in a safe environment, that had received special training and operating according to CDC recommendations.
By combining CARES Act dollars in addition to our standard funding, we've been able to offer considerable financial relief. We've issued over 30,000 child care subsidy certificates to families in need, including over 7,000 directly to emergency and other personnel. To date, MDHS has provided over $100 million in financial aid to both working parents and our child care providers.
The Hattiesburg Early Learning Collaborative serves about 300 students across the Hattiesburg Public School District area. Those students come from PRVO Head Start Centers, 5 Child Care Centers, and the Hattiesburg Public School District. We have students who are 100% virtual, so we have a lot of students who are not here face-to-face, but we have provided them with the means to be able to join classroom instruction and be a part of the learning experience. The Raise the Rate was given as a means to help supplement the money that was given across for the grant. It actually helps to fill in the gaps for money that was otherwise be used or not available for the collaborative. So the Raise the Rate was able to come in and provide means for supplies, monies, or just anything that's needed that the grant did not cover as far as the per pupil rate for our students.
Through hard work, commitment, and collaboration, and equipped with $200 million in funding from the Mississippi Legislature, the Mississippi Department of Education worked from July to November to deliver over 320,000 laptops and tablets to districts, loaded with software and ready for students' immediate use. Through a bulk order, Mississippi jumped to the front of the supply chain as districts and other states struggled to get devices due to demand brought on by the global pandemic. Devices were delivered on time, and short-term internet connectivity solutions were identified, allowing for expanded teaching and learning opportunities across the state.
Delta Health Alliance, Head Start, Early Head Start in Sunflower County focuses on a multi-generational approach for both children and families. Our program goal is to provide high-quality, hands-on early learning opportunities to promote school success. In response to COVID, our organization banded together to meet the needs of children and families in Sunflower County. We knew we had to meet our families where they were at by offering both in-person and virtual learning. Ongoing communication with families is integral to the academic success of children. We created learning opportunities in a number of ways. Learning Hub videos, Zoom in the Room, and learning home materials for all of our families.
When COVID hit in March and we had to shut down, we immediately went to virtual learning and provided our materials bags for the children that included books and all types of educational materials that they needed to learn at home. Currently, for this school year, we're serving 248 children, and that is due to the COVID crisis. We have 10 children in each classroom with 2 teachers at each one of our sites.
Our number one goal has been education, providing educational services while students are either at home receiving our services virtually, or once our program did get up and going, receiving a traditional model which is based in the classroom. And one reason why we wanted to make sure that we decreased our enrollment and also continue to meet the needs of our children and families is because health and safety have been our priority and our goal for not only our children and families, but also our staff.
When the pandemic hit in March of 2020, my center had a capacity of 237, and we were setting at about 200 students per day. Within 1 week, we went from 200 students to 25 students. This had a huge negative impact on how I was going to pay my mortgage, my utilities, my insurance, my bus note, and all the overhead that I needed to pay. If it wasn't for the CARES Act funding, I personally would have had to shut my center down until I figured out another resource, another way to get funding, a bank loan, whatever it might have been, to be able to sustain until business got back to normal.
I hope that the resources that we sent to those early childhood collaboratives will save lives. We hope that those businesses don't have to shut down. COVID-19 is real. People are leaving here every day at a large number because things are just not put in place, safety measures not put in place. And what I love about the child care providers is that they love their children. They treat all those kids as though they're their own. And so to ensure that those children are safe and to ensure that the people who work there are safe, we had to do something. What we gave them was not nearly enough for them, those businesses, to sustain themselves. And so we have to look at how we put funding in place to help for future pandemics like this or any other issues that will come up.